In this video, we are going to talk about the future for Pete Alonso after his razor hot start to the 2025 season. As you can tell, I'm not at home with my computer. I'm actually in the middle of a state park filming this. Yeah, oh well. As I'm filming this video, Pete Alonso has just hit another RBI to put himself at 24 in a season. He also has 6 home runs and OPS of around 1.2. And he has a batting average of .355. Now, obviously, those numbers are insane and they're going to, regress back to the mean. But I could very well see a 300 batting average in the line for Pete Alonso. And obviously expecting Pete to get, like almost 200 RBI is insane. But Pete Alonso could, he's on pace for that. And I could very well see him getting, into the, 150s. And, Pete Alonso, has 6 home runs. That's not great when you scale it to everything else, but he's still on, pace for, 45 home runs on a season. It's still decent. But here's the thing. Can we expect this to last is the question. Because there's a lot of very positive things that can happen if it does. But you have to remember that Pete Alonso's best year was his rookie year. And declined since then. 2024 was probably the worst season of his career. He only had 34 home runs and 88 RBI in the regular season, many of which were in low leverage. He did turn it up in the playoffs, however, as he hit 3 home runs, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure he hit 3 home runs in playoffs. Don't remember how many RBI he had in the playoffs. I know that his home runs collectively were 5 RBIs, and no, he had 4 home runs that total for 8 RBI. I know that much. Again, not sure what he really had for the rest of the playoffs, but I think he probably finished around 9 to 10 RBI. I know Vientos set the Mets record at 14 RBI, so I know it obviously can't be greater than that. Regardless of that fact, though, Pete Alonso right now is on a very good pace, but of course it's early on and we can't expect this to continue. That being said, how could this affect Pete Alonso in the future? Right now, Pete Alonso is about a 25% chance for the Hall of Fame. He is a 4-time All-Star, and he was the Rookie of the Year in 2019, but he doesn't really have a ton of accolades. He doesn't have any MVPs. He might have 1 or 2 Silver Sluggers, but with Bryce Harper always being a first baseman, it was always tough to compete against Mr. Harper. So I'm not really sure how many Silver Sluggers he has. Doesn't have any Golden Gloves, and all that stuff. So you have to really look at that. His best shot at being in the Hall of Fame is likely if he can get to 500 home runs. And, I'm pretty sure that right now he's in the low 230s somewhere. So he's a little over 46% of the way there when you look at it that way. A little over 46%. When you sort of look at it that way and you realize he's coming into year 7, it's like, okay, if he plays at this pace, he'll need 13 years. But you have to realize that to get 270 home, he needs 270 home runs to be a lock for the Hall of Fame. So if he's getting, even if he's getting 40 a year, that's going to take him almost 7 full years. And again, 40 a year is a lot of home runs to get in a year, especially for someone who's going to be aging as it goes on. It doesn't get any easier as you age. So that's certainly not going to help him. You need 3,000 hits, and he only has in the 800, so he's not getting in for 3,000 hits. He really has to get on 500 home runs, and it's tough to do. or he'll need to have significantly more impressive accolades. His defense at first has been pretty good this year, but it's way too early to tell if he's going to get any sort of Gold Glove consideration. As for his offense, again, right now he's likely on pace for Silver Slugger, but it's tough to tell if he's going to get that, especially with Bryce Harper being, such intense competition throughout his whole career. That's why, I think Pete Alonso only has 2 Silver Sluggers, and that's a lot of the reason why. He has 4 All-Stars, which is obviously good, but All-Stars, you're going to need to have probably double digits of them, or something close to get in for that alone. Because a lot of people make the All-Star game. Now, as for Pete Alonso, the other major way that he can get in, as I said, is accolades. But he needs to have much more impressive ones than he has right now. Because right now, Pete has good accolades, but they're not great accolades. He has a good view of the lake. I get a picture, but I already have one, and I can't tell which one will be better. So if Pete Alonso has more accolades, that would obviously make him better, but getting those accolades is going to be very tough. For one, obviously he could win National League MVP, but there are guys who have won 2 National League MVPs and are still not in the Hall of Fame. So you have to realize you're going to need multiple MVPs in order to get in, multiple MVPs you need. And of course, getting so many MVPs is a lot easier said than done, especially with Shohei Ohtani being in the league. First of all, he's good for marketing, so if it's close, you better believe they're going to give it to Shohei Ohtani. And even though he's only a designated hitter for now, we don't know when Ohtani is going to be returning to pitching. And if Alonso and Ohtani have anywhere near similar offensive stats, but Ohtani is pitching, unless either number one, Ohtani's ERA is above 3.5, or number 2, Alonso's defense is so good that it garners him a Golden Glove, it's going to be very tough to believe how Pete Alonso can win an MVP over Ohtani, and second place doesn't really do you much good. So he could win a National League MVP. Right now he has a decent shot at it. Again, his RBI is the second most in the MLB and the most in the league, so certainly seeing Ohtani, who's been starting off on a bad start, if Alonso can separate himself more, that could certainly help his MVP case, but it's not a guarantee. And as for what's his name? As for Ohtani, if he returns to pitching, that's going to give him a big boost too. Now, we don't know when he's going to return to pitching, but Ohtani being in the same league certainly is not going to help Pete Alonso, because it's going to be tough to overtake Ohtani, especially with how much glazing they do for him. Now, I'm not saying that he has to win an MVP for the regular season. He has other ways of doing it. Alonso could very well win an MVP award for a postseason series, like NLCS MVP and World Series MVP. But there's 2 problems with that. First of all, those awards are over a smaller sample size, so it's tougher to really get your way with those. And number 2, you have to make a deep playoff run, obviously. So it sort of then comes down to, it's a team sport. And in order to win MVP of a series, your team needs to help propel you there. Obviously, an NLCS MVP is winning the NLCS. So you have to make the World Series, and the World Series MVP has to be on a team that wins the World Series. So you have to do good on both. And they don't give out MVP awards for the NLDS, which makes sense, because then you have 4 NLDS MVPs, and the award would mean pretty much nothing at that point. I mean, Mark Vientos probably would have won NLDS MVP for his work in the Mets-Phillies series, as he slugged 2 home runs and I believe had 5 RBI in that series. You know, it's tough in that aspect because you have to make a deeper run in order to have these awards. And sometimes those are statistical awards that, you know, don't always translate. He was the home run leader for the National League in 2019, didn't get MVP. He was the RBI leader in 2022, didn't get MVP. So it's not just about those things. You have to really be able to put them together in order to make a convincing run. That is basically as to why I think it's going to be tough for Alonso. His odds of winning MVP are probably only around 15% when all said is done, because Ohtani is inevitable. And you have to be able to, you know, surpass Ohtani. And again, you know, is Pete Alonso a future Hall of Famer? Probably not as of right now, but his odds are probably the 3rd highest of anyone on the Mets, if I'm being honest. If anyone on the Mets currently, Soto probably is the highest odds. He's a World Series champion. He's so young, and there's a reason why he commanded all that money. He's slumping now, but he's done, you know, amazing things already in the MLB in his 6 years. So he's certainly on pace for the Hall of Fame. Lindor, he's halfway there with both 250 home runs career and 500 and 1,500 hits. Now, of course, he's been playing in the MLB for 4 more years than Pete Alonso. But Lindor does have the Golden Gloves, the Silver Sluggers. He did finish second in MVP voting, though he didn't win any awards that season. Honestly, the bigger debate for Lindor is he's probably going to make the Hall of Fame. Does he make it as a Guardian or as a Met? That's my bigger question. But Alonso will certainly be making it as a Met. And finally, as far as money, Alonso could certainly earn himself a lot of money at the end of 2025 or 2026 if he continues to play for this, though not necessarily for the Mets if the Mets don't pay him because Stearns is an idiot. He might be going to another team instead.